All right, hello there, everyone. Welcome to this special DevOps challenge. My name is Jim Schultz. I'm the founder of North American DevOps Group, also known as NADOG, and I'm also a developer advocate at Shippa.io. I've been in the DevOps space for a really long time, in fact, since before it was even called DevOps. And I've run and attended hundreds of online and in-person DevOps related events. But I've got to say that I've never really been as interested or nervous at the same time to run an event. We got a lot of moving parts here, but this should be a lot of fun. What we're going to do here is we're going to hold a race between an open source project called Ketch and the traditional manual Kubernetes application delivery process. So Ketch is an open source application delivery framework for Kubernetes that was created by and sponsored by Shippa. Bruno Andrade is the founder and CEO of Shippa. He's going to be using Ketch in this race. And Ed Keene, who I've known for quite a while now, he's a thought leader and a director of cloud and DevOps at Burwood Group. And he's going to be deploying the application manually. So think of this as like a John Henry or Paul Bunyan type of race, right? We got the machine versus man here kind of situation. We're going to be showing both screens once we get started in the race here. So of both of our competitors, so you'll be able to follow along with what they're doing. And the application they're going to be deploying, it's a simple web app called PodInfo. You can get it on GitHub, and we'll put the link down in the description as well, so that you can take a look at that if you would like. It's a web app. It's made with Golang and exposes an API and has a web interface. So pretty simple, straightforward, but they're both using the same app for this race. Bruno, if you'd like to say a quick hello, maybe talk about your environment. And if you got any trash talk for Ed, we'd love to hear that as well.
Yeah, for sure. So I'm going to be using, as Jim mentioned, I'm going to be using Ketch, the open source project to deploy PodInfo as an app. I'm deploying it on GKE. It's a 1.17 cluster. And yeah, I feel bad for you, Ed. I don't think this is going to be a good challenge for you. But, well, thanks for participating anyway.
All right, Ed. Well, that was some pretty good trash. I bet you Ed's got better trash. I've heard Ed talk before. And so, Ed, would you want to talk quickly? Just tell us about your environment, how you're kind of set up to do this, and then you get the final swing here at Bruno before we get started.
Yeah, sure thing. Well, thanks for having me, Jim. I run the Cloud and DevOps group at Burwood Group. We're kind of a nationwide cloud and DevOps consulting partner of Google and Microsoft. We help customers go through application modernization, getting their applications up and running in Kubernetes, microservices, helping them build like CI/CD pipelines, do infrastructure as code, all that good DevOps stuff. So today I am going to be writing a lot of YAML and building my Kubernetes manifest, and also utilizing customized to make it easy for me to deploy multiple environments of my application moving forwards. I thoroughly enjoy writing YAML, and it's going to be an interesting test to see man versus machine here. And I'm excited to see what Bruno has to offer with Ketch. Yeah, I would put my faith in me rather than the tool. I feel like I'm more reliable, so we'll see. People always often refer to me as being pretty robotic. Maybe that's just my wife, though.
Ed has very skinny fingers too, so won't be fat fingering any keys here today.
Nice. That's a big advantage point, I would say, because mine after the holidays, yeah, they're not so skinny anymore.
Well, cool. Well, so we're going to leave the mics open here too. So if you guys want to, kind of as you're going, maybe call out any highlights of the things that you're doing. And then afterwards, we can kind of talk about what we did as well.
Okay.
So the way it's going to work is when I say go, we're going to start the timer for both of you guys. And you cross the finish line when your application is fully deployed. And you say done. And then we'll stop your clock. So are you guys ready?
Yeah.
Ready.
Sounds good to me.
I think so. All right, here we go. So
this.
on your marks, get set, go.
I'm done. No, I'm kidding. So on my side, and I think Ed is going to do the same, but we're going to be using the image that PodInfo provides and deploying the back end and the front end for the app, so we can call a few APIs and you can see the difference.
Both these guys are standing as well too.
I'm going to be building my manifests in VS Code and running on GKE as well. It is really the best place to run your Kubernetes.
So I steal the line, Ed, that I've heard you say a dozen times now. Friends don't let friends manage Kubernetes.
It's so true. Why manage it yourself when Google can manage it for you?
I think maybe when we edit the video, we're gonna have some music going here or something, right? To
that'd be cool, yeah.
build the drama.
I know. So what I'm doing on my side, I'm just choosing the ports that I want to expose for each of the services that are going to be available into a file that we call Ketch YAML. So when we deploy the image, Ketch YAML is going to be utilized by Ketch to expose the ports for the services, such as the web interface, Prometheus, or the cluster gRPC calls. And the ports I'm using, it's basically the ports that are being utilized by PodInfo on their GitHub. So nothing kind of special. How are you doing, Ed?
Still typing away, Bruno. I'm still on my deployment YAML, the deployment YAML for the back end, my first one.
Nice. Do you want me to discourage you or not yet?
Don't throw me off my focus, my friend. One typo and it's all downhill from here.
Are you counting the spaces on your YAMLs?
I'm hoping that code helps me catch that.
Hey, I'm sorry to say, but I'm done.
Stop the clock. I'm Bruno.
I'm just calling a few APIs, kind of version and metrics, so you can see it.
So do you want to, Bruno, while we're waiting for Ed to wrap up? I don't see any smoke coming from his fingers yet, so he's probably okay. But do you want to just talk briefly about what you did, and then
Yep.
maybe at a high level about what Ketch is, right, and how it works. And by the way, we'll at the end of this we'll put links where you can get your hands on Ketch too. It is a free open source project that anybody can use.
Yeah, sure. So Ketch was basically, as Jim mentioned before, Ketch was created by Shippa. And Ketch is actually an abstract from the deployment engine that we have in Shippa. We chose to open source that component. And you can use Ketch to deploy your apps either directly from the CLI, like I'm doing right now, or you can just tie it up to your CI/CD pipeline so it can automate the deployment. At the end of the day, Ketch's goal is to make the deployment of applications a lot easier in Kubernetes. Like today, right? Ed's struggling. He's an awesome YAML engineer, but he's counting spaces right now just to make sure he doesn't miss a space on his YAML file. With Ketch, you can deploy that a lot easier. And Ketch organizes everything based on pools, right? It follows the same concept as Shippa. And pools are basically directly tied to your namespaces. So you can use Ketch to deploy your applications to the different namespaces you have. And inside Ketch, this is called pool. Ketch ties up to your ingress such as Istio and traffic. So when you deploy the app, Ketch automatically creates an endpoint on Istio for you, and you can also add CNAMEs and so on, but your application automatically gets the endpoint for the app. So what I did is I already had a pool here called dev, which is tied to my Istio, as you can see here. I didn't have any app. So what I did, the first command was catch app create pod info. As we can see here through the catch app list, it basically created a shell for me to deploy my app inside my dev pool or namespace. What I did is I created a file called Ketch YAML file, which I use basically to export the backend and the front end ports that I wanted. So ports 9898, 9797, and 9999. And I deployed my pod info app, calling the pod info image that is available today. And I passed the catch YAML file. So what happens is when you deploy that app, Ketch is going to create automatically all the objects for you in the cluster. It's going to tie up to that endpoint, and it's going to use the catch YAML file that I'm passing here in this command to open up the ports basically and make them available. So you can customize the ports that you want to make available for which process and so on. There's much more to Ketch to it, but it makes it a lot simpler for you to deploy your apps.
So let me ask you a hard question, Bruno. And I didn't give you a heads up that I was going to ask you this because I didn't think of it until right now. But is there, as a developer, is there a downside to using Ketch? Are there any features that I would want or need, or does it simply just abstract a lot of the complexities away from me, but still allow me to leverage all the features in Kubernetes?
That's a good question. I think if you want really deep control of your deployment sets, then Ketch may simplify enough that you don't have access to kind of the deep controls of your app. But one thing you can try to do to minimize that is Ketch has a Ketch has an app export command. Let me just clean this up and show here. Which basically takes your application and creates a Helm chart of your app with all the pre-filled templates and files and everything. So if you need to customize it even deeper than you already have, then you can export your app into a Helm chart, customize whatever you want from a parameter perspective, and then just redeploy that Helm using that Helm chart. So while you do lose a little bit at the deployment time, if you need really deep customization, you can do that and use Ketch even to generate that Helm chart for you automatically. So you're not doing that like Ed is doing right now with a bunch of YAMLs and counting his spaces and so serious, because if he focuses away from a minute, he won't be able to do it today.
Let's see if we can distract him and make him mess up at all.
Exactly.
Yeah, the typos are coming in left, right, and center. It's like that live demo time. Instead of the demo gods causing the systems to fail, the person's failing. So I've got my my manifest done now for the back end. Now I haven't tested them yet to see if they're working, and so that'll be and what typos there are. So far, nothing's coming up in the linting, which is good. But that's as far as I'm at so far.
Nice. Oh, halfway through. Now, if you think about it, the amount of time that Ed is taking to deploy the app, if you have to do that the whole year, the amount of time you would save doing Ketch, you can probably take your kids to Disneyland just with the time that you're going to save.
This is like waiting in line for Space Mountain, right?
Exactly.
No, but I mean, it's a good point, right? I mean, this race is fun, and it's going to be, we'll be able to count it in minutes, right? On how much faster it was just to do it with Ketch. But then you need to multiply that by how many times you're deploying, how many different apps you have, how many different teams you have, and trying to manage all of that as well. That time adds up pretty fast.
Oh yeah. And we're seeing, even though Kubernetes is quite popular, I think the adoption is just starting, especially when it comes to enterprise, and we're going to see a lot more apps being deployed and services. And a lot of the companies, they are trying to ramp up their teams to be able to do it. So I think finding more effective ways of doing it is always a win, right?
Yeah. Yeah. And I like the analogy that you use as well, Bruno, about the pizza, right? Like it's good to know how to do these things. It's good to know how to make a pizza, but do you always want to? And if you're having a party, do you really scale? Does it make sense for you to get your hands dirty and make a pizza for everybody? Or do you want to just enjoy the party? What's your real goal here? And from a Kubernetes perspective as well, it's a good idea to know how to build Kubernetes objects. It's a good idea to know how to create YAML and Helm and all of those other things. But do you need to be doing it on a daily basis? Are you really getting value out of spending that much time customizing all these different files and objects?
Yeah, it's just like the times of the hypervisor, right? I think we're on a call before, we're talking about it, and the days where we used to build applications for hypervisors, where we had to spend time installing KVM, Zen, and customizing the hypervisor config on the back end so apps could work. But today, we just don't care, right? If it's running VMware or if it's running KVM, we just spin up a machine and we deploy something or a container. And I think the same is going to happen with Kubernetes over time. People are going to be able to focus on the app rather than on the infrastructure in a way that Kubernetes won't matter if it's Kubernetes, if it's GKE or AKS or whatever version. You're just deploying the app. And yeah, I think 2021 is going to be interesting in that sense.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I mean, you need the environment, right? This is the framework to get the value out to your customers, which is the code that you're building, right? Not the means that you use to get it out to them.
Exactly.
Ed, we're running out of things to talk about.
I'm almost there. I'm on the my last couple of YAML files. I need labels, and then I need to build my namespace, and then I'm there. Probably 5 minutes out.
Nice.
All right, I've got all my files. I'm ready to go try my deployment. You deployed already, Bruno?
I did, and I showed my the API calls for version and what else? For version and metrics, and health, just to make sure it works. Yeah, done it a long time ago, my friend.
All right, I'm almost there. This is the beauty of Kustomize, at least, where now that I've got my YAML and I've got my Kustomize, I've got my manifest and my Kustomize YAML, I can now redeploy in different environments really easily. I've got a dev and an eds lab, so at least I can get that far to simplify moving this around and building multiple environments.
And that's a good point, a good question, right? I mean, this was a fun race and exercise that we're doing here, but in the real world, now that you've done this once, how much of that is going to be reusable, right? And how much is that going to cut your time to deploy exactly the same way that you did today? But then there's the question, right? If you need to do things a little bit differently, deploy to a different environment or a different app, how much of it is reusable? How much do you have to go back and start from the beginning?
Yeah, on Ketch's case, it doesn't really make a difference if I'm going to deploy the same app on AKS right now, whatever version. If the cluster, even if the cluster API version is different, the user won't see because you don't have to change the files or anything to match any cluster API version. So it's pretty seamless to the user in my case.
I'm redeploying with the to the right namespace with the here we go. Here's my typos. Oh, I'm redeployed now. All the typos are fixed. Now I'm just waiting for my load balancer IP, and then I can do the test.
Did you already have ingress installed in that cluster?
No, I didn't. That's hence the load balancer there.
So that's it. You're done. You're deployed.
That's it. I'm deployed to dev, and if I wanted to deploy to an ed lab, probably take me a minute to write the update the customize for that. But yeah, I'm done. My fingers are pretty tired. I might go grab a coffee myself.
Nice. Awesome. So what you want to talk us through just a little bit, Ed, kind of what you did and
yeah, actually it's good to be able to do so now that I'm stepping out of writing mode. So in here I have so I've got a few different folders from where I was just set up our regular like Burwood's base manifest that we use for most of our deployments. But so I created a deploy demo here. I created a bases folder. Inside here, this is where my Kubernetes manifests are going for the back end and the front end. I've got my deployment, my horizontal pod autoscaler, my service.yaml, and then same three again for the front end. So these are my front and back end manifests. And then I added the customize, because I'm using customize here to make it easy to deploy for future environments, and also to variabilize as much as possible. In this case, I kept it pretty simple and just variabilized the environments, but there's a lot more that we could do so. And then as part of customize, I applied like my customizations here I referenced, and this is what tripped me up when I had the wrong path to the resources. This is where I referenced the base manifest, and then my namespace YAML here as well for creating my dev YAML, and then the labels that I wanted to use here as well in the environment. So that was it. And then once I had all those written, I just did simply, if I go back in my terminal, I did my customized build. I built it from those overlays that are again referencing the base manifest, and then I piped that through to my kube CTL apply. And in this, I did a load balancer so I could hit it from outside and show the web front end.
Nice. And if you're changing clusters now, with maybe clusters with different versions, do you have to make any adjustments?
Different versions of the application. Yeah, I would need to update my image and references to I think just the image.
Okay. And how complicated would that be to tie this process all up into your CI pipeline, Ed?
Yeah, so now I would use something like GitHub Actions or Cloud Build or GitLab and kind of automate all this, at least the CI part and the build part here through that, and then I'd probably look at a tool like Argo or Spinnaker to help me around like some of the CD there too. So at this point, we're now talking about a few different tools, right? Like customize for the templates, whatever my CI tool is going to be. And then we like using like some of the capabilities that we get from like Spinnaker and Harness or Argo around being able to do like canary deployments and easier rollback. So we would probably then only do the container build part through Cloud Build, and then do the deployment through one of those tools.
Nice, pretty great.
Well, cool. Well, as impressive as everything you did was, Ed, I think you lost that race pretty handily. Maybe the next time we do one of these, we'll give you the Ferrari and we'll give Bruno the walking stick. But no, that was a lot of fun. And I think that, yeah, I think some people may watch this and say, oh, well, you can reuse some of this and that. But and I think a lot of that's true, right? And so this isn't meant to be taken as, hey, every time you do a deployment, you're gonna have to go through all this stuff. But there will be some things, right? If you're doing things manually, like Bruno was pointing out, if you're going to change environments or change versions, and there is some work that you're going to have to go back and
building new services. When you add services to your application as well, and then you need to write the supporting manifest for those too.
I think another pretty cool race would be now get that pod info app and tie it up to your CI pipeline in a way that is being deployed on Kubernetes. Oh man, that will take even longer now.
Well, cool. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to put links in the description. One, where people can get their hands on the pod info app if like they're doing this testing themselves. Also, a link where they can download and try and use Ketch to their heart's content. and also a link to a demo, a web demo that Bruno did of Ketch as well, to kind of walk people through the highlights of what it does. And then also links to reach out to both of you if people would like to talk to you or any additional information or anything as well. Any closing thoughts by either one of you?
No, I think from my side, Ketch is an open source project. Please do give it a try. Spin up. If you find issues, open issues, work with our team. We really want to have as many people involved as possible and have the community being part of it. Send over functionalities you think we should add as part of Ketch. So yeah, participate as much as you can, and would love to work with everyone.
Oh yeah, and I was excited to see and learn about Ketch and Shipper. So very excited to be a part of this, and excited that I got the application up and running within half an hour. it's not the 2-3 minutes, but getting it up and running in that time frame in a live demo, I'm pretty happy about that too.
Yeah, pretty awesome actually. Yeah,
cool. Always great to see you, Ed, and we really appreciate you being such a great sport and doing this with us. And Bruno, your trophy's in the mail, so if you don't see it, just keep waiting.
We'll do. Thanks a lot, Jim.
All right, see you, everybody.
Thanks, Jim. Nice to see you, Bruno. See you guys.